activities. We know very well that this has a very, very a serious tendency to inhibit economic activities, because these are people involved in one thing or the other. You know, imagine taking the life of somebody who is already doing or engaging in one economic activity or the other. This also has that impact without us knowing. It could leave a gap which may not be easy to fill. The prevalence of ritual killings could also cause public disaffection with government efforts to protect human rights and ensure public security. Already a lot of people feel, you know, this is already making us feel like this country is really hopeless. Has it gotten to this point where you can't travel safely anymore, where people, you know, body parts are now being removed? That gory sight. This is really, really causing disaffection for government efforts. And I thank God that the police is here, because the first people we tend to say, what happened? You know, and we begin to think of security, because whenever we talk of security, we talk of the police. I'm so happy that we have a full house. With what we have, I know that we cannot live here without getting to a point where we know what to do to really address this situation. Then the goal. So what is the goal? Our goal is simple. It's not showing, but I'll go on. Okay. The goal, it has come. So the goal is simple: to stop the killing of women and girls for ritualistic purposes in River State and the Niger Delta at large. So this is our goal. And when I say our goal, it's our goal here. It's not just about the center and the PIND. It's about all of us here. And I tell you, to be called a stakeholder is a very big title, because it simply means you have a role to play. Otherwise, you won't be wasting your time here. So this is our goal. We hope you buy this goal. We need to stop that. Everyone here I know is very interested in saying this stop, because it could be you, it could be me. What are the objectives we have for this advocacy campaign? Remember, we want to embark on a campaign. You know, we are not saying we can do that, but we can embark on a campaign that will encourage relevant stakeholders to begin to take action. So the first objective we have is increase the commitment of stakeholders to respond appropriately to the problem of targeted killing of women and girls for ritualistic purposes. We think that commitment needs to increase on this. Now we are approaching 2023, and we know why what we hear people do these ritual killings for is for money and for power. And elections is about money and power. I tell you, we've not heard anything this year perhaps around us, but very soon things will be happening. We've heard that the governor has declared in Benue State. Many of them will start declaring. Boys will start warming up to work. And sometimes they are not even sent. I think they take up these things themselves and do it because they want their bosses to win. So we'll see a lot of ritual killings. I'm not predicting, I'm not a prophet of doom, but we may see if we don't start to do something about it now. The second objective we have is increase community awareness towards the problem of killing of women and girls for ritualistic purposes. So we think that our communities need to really become more aware. Let's sit up, because the more aware we are about this problem, the more we are able to, you know, come up with proactive measures to stop those problems. Then the third one is to increase media reportage on the issues of ritual killings in River State and the Niger Delta. And the reason we're sharing these objectives is in the course of the discussion, if we think we need to add more of the objectives, no, we need to really do what we can do. You know, that's why we're here. We think that we have think tanks here to give us more ideas, but these are the three core objectives that we have. We hope that the commitment of stakeholders will increase. We hope that there will be increased community awareness, and we hope that the media will begin to report more, not on when it happens, but perhaps what people need to do to, you know, avoid being victims and others. So basically, these are the objectives that we have. In the course of the discussion, I know that we'll get to, you know, what the roles that the key stakeholders need to play. And at that point, we need your wealth of experience to add to what we already have, to see that at the end of this campaign, we're able to make impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So to move over to the actual engagements now, I'm going to bring up Ebenezar, our advocacy coordinator, to coordinate that part of this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. At this point, permit me to bring out the flip charts because this is the work session. Thanks for your time, for everyone who has gathered here. This is such an important issue, and PIND and the Center for Gender and Development Studies is excited that we have someone from the CID, we have someone from the traditional institution, we have a pastor, we have journalists. It's a huge mix of people, and we're very happy that everyone is excited about this as much as we are. So I'll tell you what I have in mind on how we can direct our conversation, but if we have better ideas, we'd also take your own idea. The way we see it, we've heard the presentations, we've heard the speeches, and we want to look at the various stakeholder groups. So we can start from the police and say, police, what do you think? What role do you think the police has to play on this particular issue? And we won't just tell him alone to respond. We want everybody to share their thoughts, and we'll have discussion around that. Then we move to the media. We say, media, what role does media have to play around this issue? What steps can they take? And then we'll take the points down, we'll note it on the flip chart, and we keep moving like that till we cover everyone. Academia, we have many students here as well. So we'll take academia as well and cover that. So what do we think about that idea? Does it make sense? It makes sense, right? So that it can save us time. Because if I say, let's just open it up, we might have diverse opinions from various places. Okay, hope I'm not blocking your camera. Okay, so everyone always goes to the police first. So let's keep the police for now because everyone just wants to point fingers at the police. Let us start from other stakeholder groups first, right? Let's start with the media. We have some powerful women, from the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists, as well as someone from Nigeria Info here. So media, let me start from the people who are media professionals. What do we think this issue, from what Madam Rita said, it's going to become a bigger challenge if there's nothing done about it. What role can the media play to address this? My job is just to facilitate. You do all of the talking. So media, where do you want me to start? Should I start with the madam in front of me? Our Deputy National.
The mic first. I'm not ready to talk yet. I didn't even know he was talking to me.
Okay, yeah, so please, we're live on Facebook. You can tell your friends to join and watch the engagements live and follow up with the activities. Thank you. Yes, PIND Foundation, just PIND Foundation on Facebook. You see us there. You see yourself there.
Yes, so media man, what role can media play in this challenge, in addressing this challenge?
Once again, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Lillian Okonkwo-Gabo. Basically, the role of media is to give information, is to create awareness. That is the basic role of the media. But you also find out that the media cannot talk. The media cannot create that awareness. The media cannot give out that information if the media does not have the information. Because sometimes he said, what are we doing? We need to have that information to be able to pass it across. Sometimes I don't want to accuse anybody. They hoard information. Yeah. So in that case, how do you pass that information across when it is being hoarded by maybe the security agencies? They tell you it's highly classified information. Yes. Those who are, privy to this information. Yes. 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 Even the affected, like Prof has said. Yes, so the media should, have access to this information, because without access to that information, we will not be able to pass it across. Because when we also pass it across, it will help other people. It will help other people, to be conscious and aware. Because in all this, there is also need for people, to be safety conscious. One basic thing in this is to be safety conscious. So if the media has the information and is able to pass this information across, then it will help people to be safety conscious. I think I'll stop at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My colleague wants to say something.
Starting us off very well.
I want to pick a hole on that.
Okay.
That should be the old media. The new media should scout for that information.
Okay.
What happens to the woman who is coming from the village to come and sell at oil mill market, and they are laid on the road, the whole bus full. They rob some, they kill some. So what should media be doing? Waiting for someone to bring in the information there? Scout for the information. The chief who is to be buried, and they use 3 maidens to bury him.
Yeah.
Who will come and report to you? Scout for it.
Okay, so that's a good perspective though that she brings in.
Prof noted it earlier.
Yeah.
Are you also aware that those who are, people who face these challenges, very difficult to give the information.
Okay.
So that's another problem. Most times when we talk about violence, you find out that the victims, give this information. I can't just wake up this morning and say, I'm going to look for. There has to be that, there must be a link somewhere. So even when you are looking for, we've had cases where you even want to talk to somebody and they refuse you the information. So, okay, yes, we'll talk about investigative journalism. Even in investigative journalism, if nobody talks to you, you cannot create, you don't have a source, you cannot create, the media does not just create a story. We don't. So there has to be that information. So, well, from what she has said, even those who are the victims also need to speak for us to have access to that information. Thank you.
Amazing. And I think the angle with which she brought in, which is a very important one. Okay, after we give Prof, we'll let you know.
Let me just add to, or just a little hole.
Okay.
If you get this information that you are talking about, how do you handle it? I think it's very important.
Okay. How do you report such issues? Yes. Are there any, journalism codes and ethics and conduct around reporting issues around ritual killings and stuff like that?
Sorry, I just want to add that what my predecessor just said, we must get the information, but what I want to add to it is we must also create the awareness. One, that is our role, creating the awareness that things like this are happening, and for the women, the young girl, the teenagers, to be conscious of what they are doing, what they get themselves into. Like last year, we had a situation where a girl was lured by a fraudster on Facebook. And she encountered the man. The man took her to an unknown hotel and discovered that she was unconscious until after everything has been done. And later on, the drugs maybe the man gave to her went off and she got herself. Now, Nawoj embarked on a work that women must, girls, especially young girls, because we discovered that she was visiting a site where the men hire girls.
Okay.
Meet your friends, meet on this, and let's date sites. And that was where they started. Now, why Nawoj is hammering on these things? Be conscious of the relationship you keep, especially social media relationship. Our girls, they are not ready to take. Now, in that case, we cautioned the girl because they were not one, they were not two. This guy was doing it in almost all the states. The same guy.
So,
And
so
when
she wasn't the first.
she wasn't the
victim.
first. And when we were able to get them, we were able to now, she was able to link all other girls that has been duped by this same particular man. Now we came to the state CID, we were there. At the end of the case, at the end of it all, you know, police will always do their best. And they make sure that police and FIDA make sure that they follow this matter to the end. And that is one side of it. But what of in a situation where the girls are not ready to take the advice you've given to them, the precautionary measures you have taken out, like journalists will always write, will always advocate, don't do this, don't go to this point. Yeah, it's dangerous. This time, if you are going to leave a signal, leave a sign that this is where you are going. And nobody is taking to that. All they want is fast money and the rest. What do we then do to that at that extent? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's put our hands together for her. Thanks for that contribution. And one of the things we would find out today is that we'll see that all stakeholders, our roles are overlapping. Because if you hear from what she was just speaking about now, that sounds like a social and moral problem, which we can link to the church, we can link to the family, we can link to traditional institutions, you understand? So we'll see all of those linkages closely, and that's something we should note.
There is need to, for us to manage the information. Most times we don't just also give out information. Yeah, we manage information. So it's part of it. Sometimes when things happen, they say, the media, we didn't really say it how it ought to be. They don't talk and well. The reason is because we manage information. And, we have to work in line with our ethics of profession. So thank you. I just wanted to add that.
All right, thanks. Anybody else wants to add for media? Okay, can we bring it home a bit? I know we've spoken generally. Now, media in River State, the current media landscape in River State, what do we think the current media in River State can do to highlight, issues, not just in River State, of course, we're looking at the region, but let's even start from River State, to highlight issues of, killing of women and girls for ritual purposes. What can media really do? Are we going to have media people here say, I pledge to write one op-ed about it. I'm happy to invite one sales person to come and speak about it on air for free 30 minutes. I want us to make concrete, let's say some concrete things, because it's okay to write that, but at least let's have something that we can say that will take as an action point for the media community.
I come up again because sometimes when we write, people don't read. Yes. So we've been writing and we've been talking. We write, but people don't read. So what do we do? I think we have to go out while we keep on writing. I think we have to make another step further. Like maybe constant creating of jingles by PIND.
Okay.
Jingles that will be ringing in the ears of these women, like we said, those on the road from farm, and they encounter these like other women that don't have access to this. But constant jingles on radio, at least radio is everywhere, they can access that, even on their phones. On radio, we'll be able to send them a signal that, these people have been saying this, I think this is a warning. This is a sign, I'm in a danger zone. Things like that. Before you know it, they get used to it. And that's one of the way I think, apart from writing.
Okay. All right. Let's have her.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. I like what she said is correct, but I like looking at the women from the grassroots who are not privy to all these
social media
and what's our view.
Yeah.
I believe we can create an enlightenment campaign through the use of mosquito campaign amongst them, tongue criers, and all these putting them together, analyzing them, telling them about the danger, for them to pass on information to their children, their sisters, their mothers, at that level. So it should not spread from the unit level to maybe the local government before you get to the city, the state capital, and it gets to where the bourgeois are. Thank you.
Thank you. I think she has brought a very good perspective, especially around grassroots engagement. And at the grassroots level, I feel like one of the mediums that can reach everywhere, no matter how far it is radio, right? Radio is always one of those things that can penetrate even the interior communities. And then she also mentioned the use of town criers, town hall meetings as a way to also trickle down the information down. What do media people think about that?
Of course, it is okay. But I also want to add that in the course of doing the jingle, there's something we do when we talk about violence against women and girls. We use the word speak out. We encourage people to speak out. Believe me, those who are involved in this kind of victims of, these maybe those who escaped from the ritual, whatever, sometimes you find that they find it very difficult to talk. Maybe because they are scared of certain
stigma.
Is it not? Maybe sometimes, there's a spirituality to this thing. Sometimes it's like you talk, you're gonna die. So I think if we have to do jingle, we also have to talk about the need for these people to really speak out. Maybe our religious fathers will help to, talk to them that sometimes they tell you when you talk. I don't know, I want to explain it. Sometimes they tell you when they escape, if you tell somebody you will die. We've had cases or stories like that, if you talk this thing, you will die. You understand me? You thought that they won't die. You understand me? The reason why I'm saying this, I've had an encounter with a particular lady, and that was what she told me. I think her own case had to do with her husband. Her husband works in one of these oil companies, belonged to a cult group, and wanted to initiate her, and she refused. At some point, something went wrong, and I think that was when you were in Ghana, yeah. So I got, involved with her.
Yeah.
And one of the things she said is that they told her that if she, explains it or if she tells people, she will die. And so that fear is also there. So part of it is, yes, awareness campaign, jingles, like my chairperson has said, jingles, but we also have to be particular in some of the things we want to achieve. Like we say in violence against women, there is need for people to speak out. Maybe our religious fathers also help to counsel to say, speak up, explain what has happened to you, and you won't die. I think those are the things we can do to help.
Amazing. So that can be an element of our campaign, encouraging people to speak up. Yes. So I hope the students and also PIND, I hope we're also noting that as one of the things.
I'm not a media person, but I'm tempted to share or ask a question more.
Okay, please.
I think the contributions from the media people here has focused more on the traditional media. I haven't heard anything said of the new media.
Okay.
Because what is before us would require an aggressive social media campaign.
Okay.
The social media gets to the fringes. It gets to the fringes. People may not be very regular with radios and TVs, but most young people,
social media.
Yes, are on social media. And very many persons have smartphones, and this information can get to almost every sector, every nook and crannies of the society. So there's need. There was this short video, I don't think it was on TikTok. We can use a TikTok, platform very frequently. There was this video about, I am trying to replay it in my head, but it was all around the social media, the later part of last year, on what to do if you're confronted. A girl was kidnapped, and they traveled kilometers with her from one state to the other. This happened in the United States. And there was this social media information that was on what you need to do, the numbers to call, and then the hand sign. There was this, so we could develop those kinds of You know, the media here could work together, develop those kinds of information, use the TikTok very frequently, and then we popularize it. This is something that needs to be amplified. It's not something that we need to leave for the TV, and for the radio alone.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Let's put a hand together for Madam Debbie. Okay, Prof, before you speak, a hand has been up for quite a while, so let me just, sorry. Yeah, it is.
And the media, they need to follow up the stories. You know, usually you just report and that story is gone. But if you follow up, you keep going to the police, you keep going to visiting your lawyers, to, you know, visiting feeder and all that, so that you follow up the story, and people would need to know that this story got to this end and it was concluded. It will encourage others. But if you just report and it's gone, they will not want to come again.
Good point. Great point, yeah. Okay. Documentary of survivors to share their experiences. Okay. Okay, so let me just take, because of our time, because we still have CSOs who address everybody. Let me just take 3 more people. I can see 3 hands. So let's not have any additional hands anymore. So please, so that we can move to other groups as well. And then we need to do a review. So we'll have him, your hand was up, sir. Okay, we'll have him, we'll have her.
So I'm also a media person, aside the fact that I'm a CSO person.
Okay.
So I think that the media should do more on this particular subject matter on investigative journalism. I also agree with the last speaker that the media should follow up. Like last year, I stumbled in a matter where a religious leader raped a lady. And when we went to the hotel, the first thing I discovered was that the CCTV are just there. They are not working. So I decided to carry out investigation in some of the hotels. Many of them, the CCTV are just there. They are not working. In fact, because of that situation, it was difficult for the police at police headquarters to arrive at a conclusion in that particular matter. So when we discovered in our reportage, the police, we informed the police that these hotels go and investigate, the CCTV are not working. And I can tell you that the police did their job very well and also discover those particular hotels. So the media can do a lot in this particular subject matter. I think investigative journalism is very essential. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's put our together for him. He makes a good point, because there was, if you guys, there was a story last year of a girl that was killed in Akwa Ibom State. I don't know how people follow that story. Do we know that it was an investigative report that made it a very big thing? Because it could have just happened on social media and just died in natural death. But because of the fact that a reporter did some investigative findings, did some GIS mapping, and showed the location where she was, it became a bigger issue. So just to underscore the fact that he made about media's role, yeah.
Okay. I think someone had already mentioned one of the things I was supposed to talk about, which is very important for the media to do investigative journalism. I think another point I would just want to add to it is that the media should equally set up channels where people can communicate. Yeah.
Okay.
Because whether we agree or not, the media play a major role. The media shouldn't wait until PIND or other civil society come and sponsor jingles. The media can deliberately, as a company policy, but sometimes even before news. You know, during COVID-19, even without
any payment,
you know, before they give the news, they just, you get the point. So these are very critical. It is becoming a menace. You know, it's becoming a menace. Just before I came here, there's a video that is even trending already. That's Delta State. If I they even accused the commissioner of police in Delta State, there's something as huge as that. So now that we are very close to the elections, you know, these things should be very, very rare. Of course, even in River State here, you're aware of the abduction of girls.
Yeah.
You know, everybody tries to deny this thing, but it's true.
It's happening, yeah.
You know, especially within that HA area. You know, it's a fact. But, you know, we try to deny this because stakeholders have not maybe possibly done enough around it. But the fact that women are missing in this town, it is not a joke. You know, then for children too, I think just recently you heard about the one that 3 children is missing. These are facts, you know. And so as a result, the media shouldn't wait. Yes, I agree. For those of us in the civil society and NGO space, We need to
support them.
Yes, support them, pay airtime. And I want to tell the media too that beyond when we come to pay airtime for these things too, because of the sensitive nature of this thing, there should be reductions.
It shouldn't be the normal.
Yeah, because it's becoming a menace. So we should be cautious about it and treat it as such. Maybe when it gets to civil society and NGOs, I'll make my contribution just to add to the media.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's put our hands together for him. Sorry that I cannot take you because I said to just the remaining 3 people. Okay, let me allow her speak first, and then we'll come to you last since you want to respond.
Okay, thank you. I quite agree with the fact that the survivors need to speak up. But as a medical doctor, we deal a lot with the survivors. And there's something we call post-traumatic stress disorder that will not make them to talk, because fear is a component of this, and they don't want to remember what they've been through. So because of that, I will just advocate that the media can still help us a lot here by encouraging support groups for them. Somebody talked about doing a documentary on survivors. What can really help the documentary is when you have a support group. If I know I passed through the same situation as my sister and I see her talking, walking, it will help others. So I think this support group can also be incorporated into the social media, because most of these young girls, they are on social media. Even the adults are on social media all day. So when we have such support groups, I think it can really help a lot. They will be able to talk, because we really see fear in them, especially when they come around the hospitals and they don't even want to open their mouth. They don't even want to remember. They don't even want to talk about it. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Just both of you, and then we'll wrap up with that. Then
Yeah, so much have been talked about what the media needs to do and how the media should do it.
Yeah.
But I want to tell us the truth. These things have to be sponsored. The media, Yes. They buy diesel. Somebody said, produce a documentary. It costs so much to produce a documentary, especially when it has to do with TV. I'm sure PIND does documentary. PIND does documentary. You know what it costs.
Sorry to cut you, but you know he's saying, because the media is seeing this as part of their CSR as well. They won't use the same amount they give to Shell and Chevron and all those people. They also tell NGOs to pay that same amount when they want to do jingles and those kind of things on this kind of issues. Okay. You understand?
Please.
So I think that's the kind of point.
I want to appeal to stakeholders.
Yeah.
I want to appeal to members of civil society. When you budget for programs, include that of media.
Okay.
Put it there. No, put it there. Include that of media. Yes. You want to go and cover, you want to go and do a story at a Che. You need to drive down. Sometimes a whole day, you're trying, because in this part, people are even scared to talk to you. You need a vehicle, the fuel, the media. They run diesel and a whole lot of things. So people need to finance it. You see, that aspect is important. There's what we call human angle story. But there's an extent to which you can do human angle story. Because the media, we need, we have to survive.
Yeah.
You understand me? The media will survive. And how do we survive? We can't just do human angle story all through. We can't just do only human angle story. That's what we call human angle stories. What we're talking about now. Maybe one woman was, yes, but that is not the only thing we do in our bulletin. So please, multinationals should sponsor jingles, sponsor the media, cameras, and the rest of them. These things will help us to do our job well. It is not only to say media. Please support media to do this work well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. So Prof, we'll just hear from you and then we'll wrap it up. I'll read the agreement here.
Well, I'm not actually supposed to be talking, but I think it will be necessary I contribute. The truth is that I asked, what do they do with the information they get? And then the chairperson tried to talk about that.
Yeah.
Now, if you get an information, what do you do with it? How the means, the mode of
spreading this information is very, very important. Like she talked about post-traumatic this thing. Yes, because our society is society of secrecy, especially when anything involves sexual aspect of an individual. It's not supposed to be talked about. So if the media, if you get this information and you're able to break it down, you know, we are talking about social media here. The things the younger ones know about social media is way out of what we can imagine. So we can reach them. Attitudinal change is very, very important, because if I go to my pastor, if I've been abused and I go to my pastor and he say, hey, madam, you don't have to talk about it because you're not supposed to be heard or seen. I mean, that woman will never say anything. So we are saying that this information that the media gets, they must be able to spread it in such a way that people will come out to talk about. In the hospital environment, I know they talk about confidentiality, but we're saying here that a lot of people are endangered. And this is a group of people that are endangered. The way you, in fact, you convey this message is what is important to. That's the only way we can make the adjust. Okay, that's the only way we can make this, we can have the success we are looking out for. It's not only coming, gathering and talking and then dropping it in and just going, but let us also have a way of conveying the message. When somebody talked about the traditional way of media, you go to how many of us here are in such communities where the tank criers will go with all the vehicles and the noise all over the place and the beer parlor all over the place, you know, with all the music and all that. And in such places, some girls have been killed. Some women have been killed. So we are saying, how do they convey this information? They will tell us how, maybe if they ask us private, but we are trying to say that this information is very, very important. Their area is very, very important. They should have a way of conveying it, knowing the culture of silence.
Within our own context.
Within our context. And it's a woman, in fact. How can a woman come and begin to talk about it? In fact, as I'm talking about, like, if they see my face on this, they say, now that man picking a bad girl. So every woman that says anything that concerns her privacy is a bad girl. So have you also seen all the labeling and tags they have given to women? So you have to break it to our understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. We'll wrap up on media now. Just to review the key points that we raised and challenges. This, of course, will be in a report, and PIND and Uniports would move this forward. Well, one of the things we said is that media has a huge role to play in awareness and information dissemination. We also said media can help to, wake up public consciousness on this particular issue. Yes, this is an issue that people know about, but because of the fact that it's not being given that kind of attention that it deserves, we feel like people just brush it aside. But the media continues to talk about this to help to wake up, public consciousness. We also said media should be aware of their rules of engagement to be adhered to when reporting such issues. I think that just underscores what Prof said, just now. We also said it's also important to think of social media in addition to our plans for using traditional media, that is TV, radio, and newspapers. We said it's good, I love that point. It's good to follow up the stories, because most times what happens is that we have one-off stories that we just report once and move on to another thing. I can't blame the media sometimes because there's a lot of things happening, but it's very important to ensure that we follow up the stories to a logical conclusion and ensure that the issues are being resolved. The gentleman at the back mentioned having a reporting line that could help. I know media these days are beginning to inculcate things like, we have female-only lines to encourage women to call in and stuff like that. So maybe having a line where people can call, because if Nigeria Info says you can reach us with your issues, how? Toll-free lines, those sort of things can encourage women and people who have, because not just women, even men too have experienced this. So women and men who have experienced this to be able to report, even though our focus today is on women. And then we also said media and CSOs need to collaborate. Media need to be clearing the budget of CSOs. We need to also create support groups that will help, and some challenges that we listed here will be added to the report. So let's put our hands together for the media people one more time. As we move on to the next group, who should we look at next? I was thinking about CSOs. I was thinking about traditional institutions, religious and traditional institutions, because a lot of comments from the media was trickling down to the traditional and religious institutions. So let us look at traditional and religious institutions. Chukwudi, do you want to help me write? Sorry, because of the mic. Thanks. Okay, so what role can traditional and religious institutions play, in helping? Maybe I shouldn't start from them, because if they speak first as our fathers, we might be scared to want to talk. So let us start from other people first, and then we'll allow them to wrap it up. What role do we think traditional and religious institutions can play to help in stemming this issue, or putting to an end this issue of killing of women and girls for ritual purposes? What role can churches, mosques, royal fathers, high chiefs, double high chiefs, what role do we think they can play? It's open, please. Before we allow them to speak, let's have other people sharing first. Anyone? Okay, so let's start with them. I didn't want to start with them, but let us go with them.
Thank you. My name is Pastor God's Will, and I think the church has a very vital role to play. When the church is the church, because the worst thing that can happen is when you live in a community with a corrupt prophet. It is better not to have a prophet. When I was in Manchester, New Hampshire, in America, we saw the church a little bit different than what we have this year. Let us be real. My father was a chief. And I remember in those days, when there is problem in this community, he was the last one to run away. But now, if there is problem, the chief is the first to run. It means there's something wrong. There's one important thing that the church used to do. That was called prayer. Whenever there is problem, the church will come together and they will pray. Now, we write book about prayer. We don't pray. Now we organize prayer conferences. We don't pray. What is prayer? And so I want to say that looking at this issue, killing of the women and the girls, the home have a vital role to play. Because whatever we see in the community all come from the home. And we have discovered that we look at the other thing, not just the girls. So many people call me. In fact, somebody called me from Ghana the other day and said the son was looking for money, and there's a job for him in Ghana, not knowing there was a man who initiated them, and from that moment they start making money. When they got there, they were asking to practice what they want to do, to kill somebody, and they looked for a way and ran away. It is not just the girl. So the home have a very important role to play. When your daughter go out and come back, how do you look at her? The church. When somebody who is not working came to the church with 20 million, and he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a job. Why would I talk about this? We are in a hurry. Everybody is in a hurry. The other girl want to be like that other one. We are in trouble. And we can't just laugh about it. But by the grace of God, I'm an American. I will tell you the way it is. If we want to make headway. The church has failed in more cases. The traditional law have also failed. We can't change our past, but the decision we make today can affect our future. And that is why the Bible itself said, behold, I will do a new thing, and it will do a spring for everybody. But I have been praying. What is prayer? Every license for heaven interference. It means it is not the heaven that will come and help us. God has given us a legal right. And when we are in trouble, we should call him. If we don't call him, he will not come. I think the church should go back to what we used to do. Last year, I came to the country that in the midst of crisis, and God put on our heart to start a 37 days prayer, 36 days prayer in 36 states of Nigeria. And I didn't know how we were going to do it. And we started what I call this violence must stop campaign. Nobody knew about it.
but we saw it happen. Prayer can work if we make it work. And the church, we have a vital role because, like you talk about the social media, the church is like the home. Every one of us belongs to the church. And so, what are we going to do? I think we pastor, we should look inside, and we should begin to know that this man that is coming to give us 20 million have no job. I know we want to be the cathedral. I know it's no longer about the soul of men that go to heaven. I know it's about the competition. And many of us are so lazy. Many of you are so lazy because the Bible said to men that believe I give them power to become the sons of God. Nobody does that anymore. I think we have to go back to where we belong. Because this issue, we can't put blame on each other. The police, if you arrested the people, you are big politician, we call them and threaten them. And you don't know what to do. These are the truth. But the family can play a vital role and the church. We know everybody in our community. I'm from Ogoni. When the crisis was so much and we don't know what to do, we know everybody in our community. The church knows the people. If you allow the church, if the mother stop covering, because sometimes we even ask the question, the mother will jump ahead and cover the daughter. Your daughter is in a hurry. You want to make it quick. No, anything we hurry to do, we have problem that way. When we hurry, we go back to do it all over. We need to stop hurrying. And sorry, I know that, I'm a pastor, we talk, That is how we make money. So please, I want to say that it's a very good thing, and I will actually love to be part of it. And we need to begin to look inward. And some of us, if you are going to a church and discover if you trust your pastor, that is the problem. You don't need to trust anybody. Bible says, "Cursed be the man that put his trust in another man." If you trust them, when the human nature comes, they will run away. But if you love them, when the human nature comes, you will do what you will pray for them. So let us go back to that original intent. Let the church go back to the place of prayer, so that when we pray, when we see the result, if we don't, most of these problems you're talking about, they are spiritual. Some of these girls, even when you talk to them, they are going back again. Over and over. One girl 2 days ago left here for Lagos. They have been dating this guy on the social media for long. For Lagos. When he got to Lagos, after the night, he went to brush his mouth in the morning. He was dumb and deaf. He can't speak again. We are talking about that case right now. So you, mother, you have a vital role to play. You want money, you think you are poor. You think that you are poor. And so this guy will go. You even you talk to your daughter to go and do like other girls. And we all cry. Let us stop it. And let us allow God to help us. The church can help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's put hands together for our pastor. I mean, I think he shared it because he said the church has a lead role to play in sensitization and also being able to call out evil. You understand? Because it's almost like we're condoning a lot of things. Eventually, it turns out what people are also looking for. And the family is the smallest unit of society, right? It's very like going to help society. So in many ways, the family also has a huge role to play. Before I take the house, and unless has any other contribution before we leave.
We are the traditional and believe in God. When that information comes,
Coach.
and the presentation, know that this one, this and that. We are not happy. So that's what I said to the post.
So a question I have is, I've always wondered why, in our current time, in 2022, we still have some traditional laws that kind of like supports killing for rituals. Things like someone is dead, they want to bury a chief, and then they say, someone mentioned this earlier, they say, don't do anything like that, so it's not 6 head or 7 head. I don't think it's actually still happening. But those kind of traditional practices are there. The way it supports this same issue that you're talking about. Maybe so you have one question now. And then, sorry. I'll take that first. What's your hand up earlier?
It's actually what you even said. It was just a question I wanted to ask him and to say whether we could persuade the gods when they request for the women. We beg them to take cows and dogs. That's just what I wanted to ask.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, dear pastor, I want to ask, what is expected of us, maybe the media, knowing some of these stories, we have our pastors involved. I'll tell you a story very briefly. When I was chairperson of Nawuj River State, we had, somebody came and reported that a proprietor of a school, who is a bishop, raped the girl, used handkerchief, and wiped the place and went away with the handkerchief. The little girl went home and told her father that the owner of the school, the proprietor of the school, used handkerchief, slept with her, whatever, and then used handkerchief and cleaned. At the end of the day, the man was a bishop of a church and was running the school and the church somewhere in Obibo. These people say media pursue. I pursued that story to the point that nobody told me to stay somewhere. It was dangerous. It was very, very dangerous. I was pursuing it with a feeder, a lady. Yeah. And we saw that it was very dangerous. In fact, the father of the girl kept telling the man to bring the hand. In fact, that he should bring the handkerchief that he used in wiping, whatever. He couldn't produce the handkerchief. And he opted to pay 500,000. I think at the end of the day, whether he paid money. So the question, to cut long story short, what happens? We are talking about rituals, whatever. Story has it that even some men of God, in quote, are involved in this thing because they get power from wherever and then they can do miracle. So in that case, what is expected of some of us?
Thank you, madam. I think we are getting to somewhere now. We have been deceived for so long. The law has to take its course. It doesn't matter who is involved. In fact, the moment you are a bishop and you get involved, you should be the first to be arrested. I think that's why we need the police to help us. Because you are a bishop, because when you are the senator, I'm sorry, because we don't have a system. If we have a system, those are the ones that are supposed to even suffer more. When Joe Austin in Houston, wife was on the airplane, something happened. They arrested the wife, not because of anything, because she was a wife of a celebrity, somebody that people know all over the country. So if you are a bishop, in fact, I don't understand, because in Nigeria, everything turned upside down. Because how on earth How on earth can this be done and allowed? That the bishop is involved in a matter like that? And because many of you, like I said, we are very lazy. You know, you can pray you can pray and some of these things will come out to happen. You may not even know that it is your prayer that's exposing some of these our people. Because who is a pastor? There is a difference between a servant and a child of God. If you are a child of God, you are part of the home decision with God. If you are a servant, you can be stopped. You can stop you can stop you from working. If a pastor is involved in this, if he's a pastor, who is a pastor? Understand? I'm not a pastor because I preach. I'm not a pastor because I prophesy and steal some of your money and enrich myself. Because it's getting time that we, the media, you need to help us. Am I talking to somebody? Yes. You need to help us because some of these problems is caused by us. We all go to some of these churches and we see things that is not right and we still go there and empower them. The church is becoming more richer than even the oil company. And we are the one that will make it happen. So I will say that please, so that this can help us. If you are going to a church and you discover that that man, even though he's your brother, is not doing what he's supposed to do, stop. Because when you stop empowering. Look at a pastor was on the airplane going to Kenya, and they caught him. They caught him with what? Cocaine. And he confessed. Is it not a shame? Are you understanding what I'm saying? So we also have to, let me say this so that I can round it up. We have to understand the time and the season we are living in. That's what I'm saying. We need to understand the time and the season that we are living in. Because when we understand the time, we will know what to do. If we don't understand the time, we'll be pushing around like we have been doing. Somebody came to my house and said, "Okay, prophesy to us." I said, "Hey, the greatest prophecy you miss is the word of God." Here's what I'm saying. And many of you sitting down here, if you come to my meeting, I don't prophesy to you, you will say like that person is not seeing anything. You are deceiving the cause. All of us, please, let us go back to the place of prayer.
Sorry, man, because of our time. So sorry. So let me just take her hand as an up, and then we'll move on to read the you know, Prof, you have power. So okay, so let's take our own point first.
Okay, my name is Ifoma Ikejako once again. So my charge is for the mothers and the community women leaders, the Omada, for instance, like they have in Igbo land, and I don't know what they call them in other tribes. Yeah. So for the mothers, we have a big role to play in this. You know, I'm talking about the home setting and the traditional setting. Some mothers are very negligent of what is happening with their daughters. You have a situation whereby your daughter, who know is not working, and then that is a student, using her phone that costs as much as 500,000, 700,000 naira. You're not asking questions. She wears a Brazilian hair, blonde straight hair, 500,000, 1 million naira, 800,000. You're not asking questions. These things make them very vulnerable. And what about the mother in the village? What is our responsibility? Is our responsibility just to set up exorbitant lists when their daughters are getting married? They should also think about setting up forums to talk to their daughters so that they can advise them and regulate their lives, and not really regulate, at least teach them in bad, good discipline on them so that they can learn to be contented with themselves and what their parents can afford. Let them not live above what their parents can afford, or give themselves unrealistic targets or what they see on television. Think about celebrities and not to live like celebrities. And that puts them under pressure. They begin to follow this Yahoo and some of them they call them Yahoo Plus, and then they don't just do the internet fraud, they go ahead and take their lives to make money. So the traditional rulers should please talk to them and the other people, whatever they are called in other things. They should bring their daughters and talk to them, encourage them. You can even be working and you can be schooling and have a handwork rather than looking for men to give you money. Thank you.
Thank you. She made a very excellent point. Let's put hands together for her. I think that's a very good point. So, Prof, do you want to say wrap up? Okay, so Prof, wrap up and then we'll read the points and move to the next.
Well, thank you once again. You know, when the the pastor and the traditional ruler spoke, I just wanted to at least make my own contributions. When he was talking about Hampshire in US, and we are here talking about people praying. Do you understand? It's an aspect, it's a tool of capitalism. What we are discussing here now is a tool of capitalism, where capitalism is not interested in what happens to you, but rather how much gain he or she makes. Like she talked about doing what does. The communities are the daughters still there. The daughters are looking at what she's wearing, and the mother is telling her daughter, "Oh, Mary's mother is Mary's daughter is wearing, and what are you doing?" So homes, yes, I agree, will play a very important role. The church is a capitalist institution. They are not talking about spirituality here. They're looking at how much you have. And for that reason, in fact, I disagree with all of them. Let them tell us how spiritual our pastors are. And if you don't belong to any of these groups, in fact, you are Antichrist. So they already tag you what you are not. And for that reason, everybody has to be there. So for the traditional people, yes, fortunately, I will say, I used to be a daughter of a traditional ruler, but my dad was one in millions, and people still make reference to him. Like he was saying, when there's war in the community, the traditional ruler runs away. Why is it now first? It is because they are all compromised. They are part of the challenges in the community. They are part of, if you are talking about devaluing women, it is the traditional rulers who will tell you she's a daughter, she shouldn't talk. So what is she going to be saying if she's also abused? So we are trying to say that if the church wants to tell us anything, please, they should drop the capitalist aspect and look at spirituality. And in America, you're not going to be telling people to be praying when you know that there are things you can do. Tell us what we can do. Then our traditional tongues, they should please forget about answering high chiefs and the highest chiefs. They are supposed to be the servant of the people, agents of change, which they have also failed because of the capitalist tendency. Because we want to wear the highest, the most expensive big, the rappers, and belong to a political party. I hope you also know that if you don't belong to a political party, your chieftaincy title is not recognized. So you can see it's all about capitalism. Yeah, you don't belong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Do you want to summarize? Do you want to read what you have so far?
Okay, so I noted a few points. So we talked about, somebody mentioned, the man of God mentioned the need for spiritual support from the church, and also that the church and its members should not condone evil. Also, that the family should step up in its responsibility. Somebody else talked about, we also talked about the need for more prayers. And the professor, on the other hand, said the church should actually say what can be done and not just prayers. Okay, and then somebody else talked about the fact that mothers, and I added fathers there, and the community women as
the conversation on this particular angle. So who's next? So CSOs? Do we agree CSOs? Okay, CSOs. So CSOs. Okay, let me take you first. I'll take you, I'll take her, and then I'll come to you, Madam Deborah.
Once again, my name is Comrade Nefa George Will. I'm the chairman of Rivers State Civil Society Organizations. I think one of the key things as civil society that we need to do. Hello. One house, please. I think one of the key things that we have been doing, but we need to do more, is to collaborate with other stakeholders, specifically religious and traditional institutions. For religious, we live in a very religious society these days. In fact, people take very seriously what their pastors say more than even what their parents or other category of stakeholders say. So I think that there is need for civil society to collaborate with such partners religious leaders to see how we can do partnership and have this kind of conversation in churches, in mosque, and whether we agree or not, this is the reality. In Nigeria, there are people who don't attend churches and mosques who are hardcore traditionalists. We should equally look for a way to use these means to reach them. And people are getting more emboldened, and they are coming out to say that we are not church people, we are not mosque people, we are traditionalists. But if you go to, especially in some major territories, you see people coming out to say that we are wine givers, and they openly worship their traditional deities, openly, without fear of yours. So society is getting more emboldened, so we should use those channels. For the traditional institutions, we have to collaborate with the traditional leaders and community development, CDC, we call it CDC. They are very powerful. They are very powerful these days. You know, women groups, youth groups, to see how we can hold this sensitization at the different communities. Of course, with the traditional rulers, and there will be more like a step down program. Maybe even train the trainer, maybe the leaders of this, so that they can step it down. Maybe even sometimes to get town hall meetings with them. Still in terms of engagement, there's equally need for us to do neighborhood rally. These days, young people are always interested in such events. We are neighborhood rally, maybe you go and occupy a particular place, use megaphone and other means of communication, share flyers, and just occupy the place, stampede the place, and maybe communicate to them. Maybe that is where student union governments will be very important. You know, civil society should, I think, occupy that space, occupy universities, you know, or do open air programs and all that. Let me say this before I continue. There is a category of stakeholder that is supposed to be here, I'm not saying here, which is government. In fact, government is here. Okay, thanks. Thanks for the correction. Even though by government I mean the engine room of government. But I think that yeah, thank God that government is here. Are we going to take them on or just focusing on civil society? Because no, when I mean government, I mean the heart of government. No, because this is very important because barely every stakeholder that is here, you know, government plays very key role. And there is something politicians call these days body language. You know, every stakeholder, even the citizens look at the body language of the governor. If the governor, for example, is opposed to certain things, there are tendencies that everybody, including the police, in all those stories they tell you that the governors don't control police, so there are stories, lies. When it is comfortable for them, they control the police very well. You know, so what, you know, so being that we'll get to turn of government, I think I'll just leave that. Collaborations, you know, then of course, for the media too, we need to, the media have been doing a lot for civil society, I must say this. And for some of us, really, our civil society coalition had benefited a lot from partnership with civil society. But we think that, like I said earlier, there is need for us to get cheaper rates. There is need for us to get more airtime. And of course, there is for us to get more collaborations. Maybe as we progress with.
Thank you so much, Anefa. There's a lady's hand. Sorry, I'll come to you to speak. Or has it touched on the points you want to raise? Okay. I'll just keep it short.
Okay. On this topic, how best the targeted killings of women and girls that ritual purposes can be brought to an end? There are two ways to it. First of all, we'll talk about those who commit the offense of ritual killing. There are ways, you know, it could be curbed. We also talk about the target persons, the girls, what can they do to avoid being used for ritual? So I have so many of them, about 23, but I'll just take like 3 here for the purposes of time so that we can accommodate. In many African countries, we all know that the issue of ritual killing is all over the place. The question is, why do people kill people for ritual purposes? So they believe it will not donate money. So they believe like when they eat human tongue, when they talk to people, they bathe them. Some politicians believe that it will help them in elections. So the first target, the first thing we should do is change of mindset. How do we change mindsets? I know Canadian governments, they do it. They sponsor films for a particular purpose. First of all, individuals need to know that a human body part or a person's blood or a female's blood can never make it to an election. When that mindset is changed and they understand it, so they won't even be thinking of killing somebody in the first place for them to be able to win an election, for fertility, or for them to for people to listen to them in whatever they say. So how do we change this mindset? Because it's already ingrained. Like people believe that when they kill our donors, they make money. Government should sponsor things. We notice that Nigerian movies, it sells a lot. And the man is saying when the film starts, he's doing what he's done to kill somebody, he succeeds, he's living big, he makes the whole money. It's only at last, if only the young man should wait to watch the film. The thing will now stop working. Let me tell you, I've come across somebody that says, even if it is for one day when you are rich. So when you encourage other, those masses of society. So when somebody believes that, if I make it, even if it's only 10 years, they give me a one course, the person will continue to kill. So that's the thing. And the security agencies and the security in the country has made it because we have loose security system, they are not caught. And because they are not caught, it continues to go unabated. Two, on the second issue, there should be empowerment, enlightenment, creation of jobs. Teaching people the culture of hard work. In fact, if you ask me, the NCC, I don't know what they are doing. The issue of betting, I believe, in fact, even people I'm looking up to, so like somebody like Okocha, instead of teaching the young boys that they can play football and make money, he's teaching them that you can just be dancing and then money will roll for betting. So that is the issue. Those are very serious issues we should be talking about. It's not about praying. In Germany, they don't pray. They kill. They committed the most heinous crime. Extermination, the superiority of the Aryan race, and extermination of the Jews. And they still doing beautifully well. Okay, now, besides the issue of changing the mindsets of the perpetrator, let me cut that area so that we can see how the girls can, prevent being used for ritual purpose. Now, finally, if people acquire skill, they know they can make money. They are, encouraged to know that they can be whatever they want to be. And I still tell people, all those I mentor, that the easiest way to the very top is through advancement and knowledge. If you're selling akara and you sell it so beautifully well, everybody will line up. Like the man that used to sell agidi with suits. Your own will become a special one and you can charge any price for it. Believe in yourself, engage them. So now let me cut it short and go to the, if not, I can give you I stayed up in the night and I did a little research on this area. Yes. Now let me go, how will our girls prevent themselves from being used for ritual purposes? First of all, if a girl has value for herself and the orientation and believes that whatever a man can do, she can, not that she can do better, she can also do. Because what leads to this ritual is the girl wants money from somebody that is living ostentatious life because they will show you the money. And if you don't fall for such people that have such ostentatious lifestyle, one day they will use you to also, try and get those things. That is one. So when girls should be trained on taekwondo self-defense skills, so that if you find yourself in a situation between what we call Skylar and Charybdis, you at least will be able to put up a fight. When you know that, you don't just start crying and start begging your traducer, it doesn't work that way. Girls should also be trained to know that if you're going to keep late nights, you know the kind of company you keep. Information. You must inform somebody. I'm going out with this person. Look at where he lives. Girls should also be, they should not keep companies that somebody don't know from Adam. Just stops a car, you enter. You've already exposed yourself, because once he winds the glasses, he can even introduce drugs. I even have to even a print, and you will lose consciousness. So, training them on the security implications or how they are going to protect themselves are one of those things that will really help them. If their parents are not there, they should be able to confide on a very close relative. See where I'm going. Then if you're going to stay out in that dates, you must make arrangements while you sleep. It's not if the party ends by 11, you become stranded. You won't know where you will go again. You must make that arrangement if you must stay up late. Then our girls should be equipped with skills. We all know that many times unemployment is on the increase. Let's target it and face it. It's on the increase. So you now know that if you're hoping to get employment, you may not get. So, the PIND as they're doing, they should, try to take in crafts. There's so many people, even tying galvanize money, make up a lot of things. These are the things that will make them, because if you're economically okay, because it's the quest to get more money or to account basic things like food, clothing, even pad is not also for some girls. Those are the things that lure them. You understand? Even girls that, there's a girl we are dealing with presently. She's in Moscow University, third year. Why did she get pregnant? Because her mother is not giving her enough money. But if that girl, when she was at home, has thought, like when I was at General University of Uyo, so the girls who were painting people say, they had fridges, they had more money than those who didn't have skills, those who can make, So those are the ways that some of the things that should be taught, so that if they are self-reliant, it's not easy for them to be lured. And then the girls should also be told not to walk in dark alleys alone. If they're going to go to prep, they should go in groups, because these people, they operate under the cover, and the darkness covers a lot. So if it's in the daytime, they are less likely that they will be attacked. Or if that, if it's in daytime, they could scream for help. Now, the erosion of family values. Okay. Now let me wrap up. When I said finally, what I wrote finally. Parents can help. Let me read it so that I will be very, very fast. Parents can help prevent ritual killing of minors through open discussions about the scourge with their children. And pediatricians or other specialist children workers are also in a position to aid parents in this discussion to incorporate sexual development and abuse prevention in a routine anticipatory guidance. What am I saying? You don't wait for it to happen. You now talk to them. Okay, at African Women Lawyers Association, there's something we have started, and we are not going back. We are mentoring all the law students in Faculty of Law, University of Port Harcourt, and Rivers State University. Now, each time I have a program, if you had allowed me, I usually carry them. The one Dr. had his own whatever, I carried them. I think about 15 of them, he allowed me 20 of them came to that program. When they listen to programs like this, it helps build them. Now, why do I say the most effective way to even stop the ritual killing is by, empowering the girls? Look at what we did in UST. And why I'm saying it to PIND, you can encourage you us to do it more. During last year's International Day of the Girl Child, the theme was digital generation, our generation. And we have seen that when we are those times, we are going to school. you can just take notebook and test it doesn't work. We noticed that there are some girls in the class, they don't have Android phones. And the lecturer say, go to the where would they download their own in their backyard? So it was not possible. So, what did African Women Lawyers Association do? We bought 2 Android phones. We went all these Carlos Miller, let me mention them. We went to Slot, we begged them, they refused to sponsor us, they will come and ready and be talking. We went to Carlos Miller, they did not answer us. We went to Red, Emos something, they did not answer us. We looked in West and we were able to buy because we wanted to empower 10 girls. Those that don't have Android phones. We bought 2 Android phones and gave those girls. I tell you, some girls will get pregnant this month because they don't have Android phone. So let us do practical things that work. It's not just about talking and sentiments. Those are part of the practical ways you can actually make things work. We are ready to collaborate with PIND. If you need us on these issues, we are very passionate and we like practical approach to issues. We'll be ready to collaborate with you. The invitation came late, but we were able to raise some documents, on actual practical issues that will make things work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, she spoke like a lawyer indeed, right? And I feel like one of the deliverables from this work, from this stakeholder engagement, is that we'll be writing a policy brief, right? And I believe that the students need to really consult the African Women Lawyers Association, because I see that she has a lot of points written down already. So I would like to reference the work that she has done. So let's just take. You want to make a point on this issue? Let me take him because he hasn't spoken, please.
Best man. I believe from all conversations so far, for this particular topic, let's hear from the perspective of a young guy also about this ritual killing and everything. Basically, as a young guy, if you approach a girl, for instance, for a friendship, I use the word friendship, not relationship, an average Nigerian girl automatically mean that this friendship is an opportunity for her needs to be met or something like that. So I believe as parents, we should tell our girl child, or rather the girls, that a relationship or a friendship between the opposite sex is not an opportunity for you to kind of excel financially or something like that. Because as a young guy, I might have a poor intention just to extend my cycle of friends. And I mustn't be friends with just guys. I want to be friends with this particular guy. Maybe due to pressure or something, she might just give me idea to do what my friends might be doing or something. So I believe as parents, we should kind of create this consciousness in our girls so that they'll stop pressurizing most guys or innocent guys to doing stuff that wasn't in the picture to start with. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll wrap up CSO session now and move to government and security operations. So sorry for that, I want to keep you this long. Okay, just give us some time. Let's take security and government, because we know they often have to leave very, very often. So let's be able to get their thoughts and share our own ideas with them before they go, right? Do you want to go ahead? Okay, so let's flip over. We'll summarize here later. Let's flip over. So government and security. This one is the people that everybody wants to quickly point their finger at and say government is not doing this, police is not doing that. We have orientation agency here as well. So, sir, let's start with you. What role do you think the police can play? I mean, in addition to everything people have said, the security operatives, what roles can the security agencies play, to stop the killing of women or girls for ritual purposes in the Niger Delta? It's a very serious question.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, to add to what everyone has said here, I think what I will have said has been said by almost everybody here. But what the only thing that I will had We are talking of the victims, how the girls were being killed, how the rituals, everything. But we have to look at the motives. And I think somebody at the back has said about that. What are the motives for all these killings? When you look at it, the main reason why there is this killing is just for material reason, wealth. People want to make money. And by that, we have to go back to what the religion man have said. What are the religious people doing about what is happening today? When you go to any religion gathering today, what they preach is how to make money. Nobody preaches how morality or anything. I've been an investigator for almost 20 years. I've been telling people I work in anti-robbery, I work in anti-cultism, and I discovered that most of these rituals of a thing is just fake. It's lie. When the issue of this Yahoo of a thing came up, we did a research on it. There's a thing they call research Yahoo Plus. But at the end of the day, we found out that there's no any ritual that assists in Yahoo killing. The only thing is that you kill somebody when you are invited, you are introduced to that kind of courtesan, okay? They want you to get deep in it. They will not tell you, go and bring a throat of a man, go and bring a throat of a tongue of a lady, just to commit you. By the time you enter, not that any ritual is bringing money for you, they will now indulge you into a serious crime, which includes kidnapping. So by that now, you do kidnapping, you do a robbery, you do a lot of things. But because of that oath you have taken, ritual you have taken, you may not disclose to any other person. Those are the things. Those are the things that are about to, we have to enlighten our young ones. That these things are fake. Except you watch it on the DSTV or anything, there's no anything that bring money to you in a ritual way. And we go back to this, our Nollywood actors. Most of them encourage all these things because it is what our young ones watches on the television. If you tune on the TV today, or Nollywood, they don't show any other thing than rituals. So we have to work on that. We encourage our actors to go away with all these kind of films. Let us let us go into another way. In order to show everything rituals, how somebody rituals, spending money. Then the family values is very important, like many of us have said. Most of the parents today, they just give birth without taking care of them. I discovered, I came from Abia to this place. And I was telling somebody the other day, I found my research, I discovered that 80 to 90% of the girls that are in school in Abia and River State, they are the ones sponsoring themselves. And they look for money anyhow, anywhere. Because if the lady is not weak, definitely the ritualists cannot get their victims. It is here you see that somebody will just talk to you on the TV. There's something they call a hookup. Without knowing anyone, you travel kilometers to go and visit such person. We have so many records in the office there. You even see somebody as a kid, you don't know anything to identify such person. There's no means of identification. So we should all tell our children and enlighten them. Most of what we have said here is that the things that are very important. The family value, the religions, the tradition, all of them has a role to play in this thing. If you want to really fight all this thing. Then I will look into in the side of the police. We are doing a lot of things to conclude our investigation. But there are so many times that so many things hinder the investigation. The people, even the victims, the family of the victim. By the time you start investigation, where you are moving toward prosecution, somebody will come with a court affidavit that we are withdrawing the case. Or somebody that is a very vital witness in the matter will withdraw that is not interested, are not interested, will not come. So that's why you see that most of the prosecution fail, or most of the investigation stop at halfway. Because it's going to be a waste of time when you take a case to court and you don't have any evidence, any witnesses. So let us make sure that when this incident happens, I don't know whether there's any evidence from FIDA here. The FIDA always pursue the matter. We have to make sure that all our lawyers, all these CSO, we pursue that kind of a matter into logical conclusion. Because if there is punishment, if there is sanction, this thing will reduce. When you arrest somebody, no matter how higher you are in the society, if you inform in such a thing, there is one that is going on, there is one that everybody is following in Osun State. Evidently. So many big men have done that and have gone, have escaped. But you can see that people are following that matter and it's going to end up in a very good conclusion. So if a thing happens, let us make sure that we follow it up. The media, you follow it, let everybody know what is going on in such a matter, so that in the side of the security, it is very difficult for security to hide any matter, except there's collaboration from the family. So if the family are interested, or the society are interested in such matter, there's no way we cannot get a result. So you should all wake up. This program is it comes at a very good time, because the rate in which people are being killed in Rivers State is very high recently. Not only women, the men and the children. The thing is increasing. Every day you go to the office now, before I come, I receive about 3 murder cases from Rivers State. And so it is every day. So we should all work together and ensure that this thing is stopped. I thank everyone from all, and I thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Really, really good points that you made. Can we hear from Ministry of Women Affairs and then Orientation Agency? Then I know we might have some agency first. No. Let's hear from you first, ma'am.
Yeah, I've done that before now. CSP Patience Adebayo, in charge of gender, Rivers Command. The topic we are here for is killing of women and girls. It's not just killing of women and girls. Children are also involved. Children are involved in this killing. Many a times, people are being defiled for ritual purposes. There are sometimes we handle matters of defilement where a man will use handkerchief, just like somebody said, to clean up the baby. What is he going to use it for? Is it not for rituals? Is that not killing that very child? That is also killing of children. Parents are also negligent in taking care of their children. Recently, we kept receiving matters of children being carried away from homes. It's not as if they went to school or missing children. They are in their homes, and somebody will just come in and trick them and said, I want to have a lesson with these children. Somebody you don't know before. And these children are not of the same ages, 3, 2, 5, 7, 11 years. They will not gather these children from their yard and give to this human being to go and teach. What is she going to teach these children? Then the next thing, the person will go away with the children. That is negligence on the cost of the parents. Because if you are really careful of taking care of your children, you will know that that child of 2 years cannot be in the same class with a child of 11 years. It has happened several places in Port Harcourt, and it's still happening. So all these children they are taking, we don't know what they are using them for. Whether it is for ritual purposes, whether I don't know what they are using them for. Many of them we cannot trace. We also have a problem of parents compounding felonies. Just like my Oga said, when matters is being reported, you are following up a matter, you will see families coming to interrupt, to say they have settled. And some of these matters are not matters that should be settled at the divisional level. It is matter of the state. Then they will start calling Tom, Dick, and Harry. And by the time you say no, you know where you find yourself. So they should try also to help us. And sometimes you take this matter to court. Without those witnesses, you'll be embarrassed in court. Then the topic will be, is it because they didn't settle you? Where is the complainant? You cannot lay hands on the complainant anymore. And the matter will be thrown out. And you'll be disgraced. That is what we have been facing. So many other things to talk here. If you report a matter, follow it up. Don't just report a matter you have reported and that is the end of it. And sometimes people don't report matter when it happens. There's a matter we are doing right now. In fact, we cannot even prove it because after 10 years of the incident, it's when they are coming to report. And when such matters are reported, you give medical reports. That is what is going to prove that matter. But after 10 years now, how can you prove such a matter? Because maybe they went back, the settlement they were to agreed on didn't work again. They now come up with a matter for police to do magic. We are not states, we are also human beings. Just like the media said, information, we need information to work with. Investigation has to do with information. If you don't inform us, if you don't give us the information, we cannot make it, we are not spirits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I stand on the already established protocol? I'm sincerely apologize. I wasn't here on time because I was engaged. Otherwise engaged. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, when one of the CSOs was talking of government and the engine room of government and body language, well, I don't understand what that coding is. Yeah. Eh? Okay, later come back and let me know. But speaking from the government angle, if you're talking of body language, I think our governor has a zero tolerance for crime, generally, not only gender. Yes, it's not only gender. So that is the body language, if that is what you mean. Yes. Then, first of all, let me thank the organizers of this program. But there's still one thing that is found wanting. We have a national gender national GVB board in place. Yes. All these things you've all noticed. No person has ever reported gender. Police, have you ever sent anyone to us? No. When you conclude a matter one way or the other, you notify the ministry. It can be in writing. Yeah, that this gender-based issue. Because this gender-based, I know this one is specifically for females, so, but if the gender-based, yes, we have. It's not only for females. Any gender-based violence, you do a letter, write the name of the victim or whatever action you've taken, forward it to us. We report it on the National Gender Board, and you will see it. Rivers State, I'm just from a meeting, has only 4 reported. Ah, okay. Ah, there is so. Okay, we will work better. We have to. We have to. Because the state has to report. And unfortunately, like Oga said, the National Human Rights Commission, according to this unauthenticated report, Rivers State had the highest number of violations. And I was shocked. Yes, I must tell you the truth. We have to tell ourselves the truth. And I was asking him, I said, come, senior man, we talk, but off record. You are telling me River State has this so much. What is happening in the southeastern states where murder is constant? There's another ball game. So we have to make effort that our national board is well populated with what we can authenticate, not what you cannot authenticate. So even if you've known, henceforth, don't wait for technical, I call it technical communication. You now know that, yes, there's this thing on in Rivers State Ministry of Women Affairs, and we should, it's not without prejudice to your notifying the national, you still follow your other line of communication and still forward to us. Then talking of this issue, all of us, we are both victims and participants. Why do I say so? I have a case here. I wanted to put it on board so that we see. You touched it, compounding. Because when the women come with issue of violation, you tell them, say, look, madam, I won't look back. He said, madam, mommy, close your heart. Do it. Okay? Once you go get the man arrested, day 1, day 2, you are seeing her with somebody. She will first of all start bugging your line. She will not give you breathing space. Midday, she will calling you. Midnight, mommy, please, this, that. The last one, I was so sad. The woman even came with a police officer because the police people refused. She brought the man, the police officer to my office. I should sign that they should release her husband. Unfortunately, I didn't have time. And I told them, they even saw me that I didn't have time. That look, officer, don't be annoyed. I don't have time. And I left them. And I know I will not. The law has to take its course. So when we don't allow the law to take its course, what are we going to do? You see, that's why such cases will keep increasing. And any of us can be a victim. If it's not somebody was talking of Omada, is it only Omada? The women, one woman told me, say, madam, they said they are going to ostracize me from the family. Is that Omada alone? The in-laws? Yes, a man at Bonny threw out the wife and children midnight over irrelevant thing. So a neighbor helped them, then in the morning crossed them and they came to Women Affairs for Refuge. From there, we got in touch with the man. The man didn't know I'm a lawyer by training. And said, he's going to get his lawyer, he's going to get that. I said, bullshit, do that. And I'm waiting for you. See who I am. I'm sure I told the person, and I was caught over 1990. So the person must be a kindergarten lawyer. Otherwise, once you mention my name, the person should know who I am. So when he got to that, I said, look, I'm going to tell your boss and you lose that your job. Working in a company. So money was not his problem. So, but the mother-in-law knew, that is the man's mother. When the man was maltreating the wife, he smashed her head against the wall. I couldn't stand it. We sent the lady to a police clinic out of our pockets because it was so pathetic. Kicked her on the stomach and she was bleeding. The man immediately he got that call from us, rang the mother in Imo State. And the mother now called the lady. The lady was with her, put the phone on loudspeaker. He said, Che, let me not go to vernacular. No, what in essence is that you are the one taking your husband to police. This, that. It's an abomination. They don't do it. They don't do that. They don't do this. And I told the woman, I said, madam, you have to harden your heart, otherwise you will soon die. And I won't be able to do anything for you. All I can do is now that you are alive, let me see what we can do to help you. That's why I see all these women coming together to assist. And we did. So you can see mothers. That is when they know they will ostracize her from the family. And unfortunately, most of these women don't have any good handwork. Not that those that have good handwork are not victims, but you see, it's reduced. So when you see such thing, you are worried. Look, let's try and empower the women. Let's not just end it with this. Please PIND, collaborate with us. Let's organize empowerment program. Yes, even if it's making of soap, when the man comes complaining that the house is smelling, if the lady is producing soap and selling, she'll be able to wash the children's things now. And she'll be like, I so believe in puff making. Is that not what we call small chops? We've christened these small chops. Puff. Let her make, let her know how to make puff. Empower her. When she makes out of that, the sachet milk, thank God, the marketers have made things easy. She can afford one sachet of milk, one sachet of Milo, make tea for the children to have meal to go to school. And yes, and for most of us that are literate, when the husbands come after marrying your daughter, your daughter should not work. Don't agree. Even say, in our place, you don't after marrying come back. I know a man, they met in the university, working in a good company at Transamadi, a lady pregnant. 6 months, you need to see, looking so sickly. I was touched, her feet were swollen. We sent her to the women, the medical women for treatment. What are you doing? She doesn't do anything. Why? The husband says she shouldn't work. You? And your parents allowed it to access us. The man's younger sister, that is a lawyer, brought her. Otherwise, the man made her incommunicado. Gave her one torch-like handset. Yes, she can't do anything with it. She can't reach anybody. And every day, or the day she was going for antenatal, this man pulled out of the shower. Why? That he was hurrying to go to work. Why did she enter the bathroom? A woman with this pregnancy, and every day, she was having children yearly. She was having children yearly. So she already had, within 3 years, 2 children, and the third one, she was pregnant with swollen foot. And only gives her what can transport her to the hospital. Yes, I'm back. Nothing. This lady had to trek some distance to buy vegetable.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Let's just be wrapping up.
Sorry, let me wrap.
Yes, I understand how passionate you are about these issues. Thank you.
So, women, we have to be courageous. Not only women, no, men, fathers, brothers. Put eye in your sister, your daughter, your cousin. Yeah. Don't say he has married her, he has married her. No, if you must reduce this, all hands must be on deck. And we have to be courageous. Don't be afraid your daughter coming back home as a single girl. So it's better she comes back alive.
Yeah. Thank you, ma. Very, very wonderful points. Can we hear from Orientation Agency? Because I think following the Minister of Information's comments around the federal government's interest to do something about this, it would be great to also hear how the NOA is able to add to this, to orientate people.
Good afternoon, all.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It's good to talk last, because when you talk last, most of the issues would have been canvassed. Well, my friend comrade talked about super governments. I think the super government people have finished speaking. So let the smaller governments, let them talk now. It's interesting to hear about the minister's passion when he addressed the media on the issue of ritual killings. And it's also interesting to hear the background to it that you had earlier raised it. Yeah. For us in the National Orientation Agency, it has been an issue of concern. And the different complexions of ritual killings, looking at when it started. When it started, not just this one, the different phases of it when it started until it got to this point. Yeah. I'm sure we have been engaging on it. But let me just say that it will interest you to note that after the minister passionately lent his voice to the issue, that we, for Rivers State here, that we have hit the ground running in terms of deploying all our media towards pursuing it. Okay. For instance, we have had our social media dialogue, using the YouTube, using the Facebook, using Instagram and other platforms to escalate information about ritual killings.
Oh, great.
And in fact, 2 weeks ago, we had a dialogue on the menace of ritual killings. And after that, we have had some media engagements. I know I've gone to 95.1, that's
Okay.
today's FM.
Yeah.
I've also had an interface with the podium. That is the podium of Garden City FM. Yes, Garden City FM. I've had interactions with that podium. And I've also had one with the 98.5. They have also called to get my reactions about ritual killings. And then for us at the grassroots level, because that is where we are strong.
Yeah.
That is where we are strong. At the grassroots level, we have also deployed our school programs, because we run school programs
Okay.
at the secondary, at the primary school levels, towards making sure that we give basic tips, security tips to children and youths at that level. Currently, we are doing everything in terms of the programs that we are running to make sure that we involve youths of tertiary institutions. And in doing this, we have started collaboration with the University of River State University, River State University Student Union Government. We have also had some with NOS, with the NOS of the school, that's National Union of River State Students. And we are also dealing with some other youth organizations in the states. So we deal very much with structured organizations. We are doing that side by side with some of our very primary functions. We are aware that this issue we are talking about is about values. It's about values. We are talking about value reorientation, and they need to reinvent our values. And that is why when people allude and then quickly allude to the fact that it's poverty, some of us tend to disagree with them. When people allude to the fact that it's a capitalist problem, I don't think that capitalism says that, that it is through ritual killings that you must become rich. It's not about capitalism. So when we begin to allude to the fact that it's a capitalist problem, it is taking an escape route towards addressing this problem. So we must address this problem. And I'm happy when our sister from OLA, that's African Women Lawyers, when she talked about the issue of skills acquisition and empowerment. And I think we need to look at some of these things. And in terms of empowering not just our girl child, not just our women, because when you talk about ritual killings, it cuts across. In fact, the people who perpetuate these things are more in the other gender. So we need to train all of them that look, that it's not just, this is not the escape route from poverty, that you need to acquire skills. You need to do something. You need to reinvent the values of hard work. When we talked about the issue of traditional rulers, traditional institutions, it is not just traditional rulers. Most times we point to them, because when you talk about people being given titles, sometimes you know that these people, you cannot really vouch for how they come about their wealth, unless you're giving them traditional titles far and above people that have worked hard, that are in the communities, that have worked hard, that are impacted on the communities. These are some of the issues that we need to seriously tackle. So the issue of security tips and all that, we need to look at them. So I think by the time we begin to receive reactions, because it is one thing, once National Orientation Agency has spoken, I know that we'll have enough reactions. So wait for the reactions so that we can respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's put our hands together for NOA. I mean, it's giving me joy first that it shows that there's something being done. You know, sometimes when we hear some of these news stories, I was telling Chukwudi that when we heard the minister after our reports came out, we're not sure if it was just a regular government's response to something and then everything dies from there. But at least from what you've said, it shows that there's some physical action being carried out. And I'm sure at the Center for Gender and Development Studies and PIND is happy and is looking forward to working with NOA to see how we can expand, you know, all of the work that you've been doing, and also as part of our advocacy campaign. So thank you so much for that. So we're aiming to close at 4. And when I mean close, I mean finish everything, because we've really stayed here for quite a while. It's been a great conversation. Can we put our hands together for ourselves first of all? But before we go, we must hear from academia and youth and young people. As a young person, my constituency, we must hear the voices of young people and hear from academia, you know, before we wrap up the conversation this afternoon. I'm sure Chukwudi is ready to take the thoughts. So should we start from the young people first? I have SUG reports at the back. Your academia and young people as well. I mean, maybe we should start from here because some of them have spoken before. So let's hear your thoughts on how the role you think young people can play students, young people, young women, young girls, young boys, what role can we play in stopping this menace?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ma. There are so many big elephants in this room. My name is Jennifer Madi. I am both a student of Center for Gender and Development Studies, PhD, and I am also the founder of Knit Together Initiative. But I would like to participate in this conversation today as the West African Liaison Coalition of Feminists for Social Change, COFEM. It's a global initiative, and I'm supporting them at West African level. I've heard so many interesting strategies, approaches, solutions which we can apply to solve this issue. And I just want to appeal as an academia and also as a young person, first of all, as an academia, that whatever we are doing, whether in preventing or responding to ritualistic killing among girls, women, or even boys and men, we have to really bring in intersectional framework to what we are doing. What do I mean? According to Andrew Lord, we do not all live a one life issue, meaning I, as Jennifer, I'm a young person, I am unmarried, I'm educated. The way I may be killed in terms of ritualistic killing, it's different from the way someone who does not have my level of education will be killed, or someone who is not at the same socioeconomic status with me. And the same way someone who is disabled will be killed may not be the same way. So we cannot sit here and come up with just one single solution to solve or to respond to all of these problems. When we do it, we will just be pushing a lot of things under the carpet, and that may not help us. So it's really very important. Whatever we are doing, please do it with, have a lens of intersectionality to what you're doing. And I'll tell you, at this moment, at the global level, both at humanitarian or development sector, they are actually applying intersectional framework to what they do. The person that developed this is Kimberly Crenshaw. She came up with intersectionality framework. It's a very interesting framework. Another framework that is coming up is social justice, transformational justice framework. That also helps because one, you can't, just like they say, you cannot throw away a baby and in the bath water. You can't. You have to be able to hold someone accountable, but at the same time, hope and believe in his or her transformation, right? So to do this way and solve all of our problems. Then as a young person, I'm a young girl. Yes, I'm a young woman and I'm single, I'm still dating and all of that. I think the problem might not just be, building me up and all of that. It starts from home. We need to cultivate in our girls to be content with what they have. If your family is able to provide you with, maybe they cannot buy always part for you to manage your menstrual period, and you're able to use, should I say tissue paper? Please make do with that tissue paper and work on being able to do something that you're able to buy sanitary pad to use that. If I cannot afford, Apple phone or what? Why would I go for that? I should be able to use, even if it's stone, the one we call stone, use it until you do something for yourself. Then volunteer, do something, even if they're paying 15,000, it's good. I tell you, if I'm dating you, I don't see you as my ATM, really. I don't even take anything from you because.
Serious ones at the
back. Yes, because I am confident in myself to be able to do something for me. So whatever you're doing for me is like an addition. And if you're taking me to KFC, my head will not be like, no, because I can take myself there and come back. So I think we need to train our girls in a way that they have to be confident in themselves. They have to be independent. They don't have to see a man to be like, I don't know, a future.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry, ma. Just because I said let young people speak first, just permit me. Let's hear their voices, and then when we have some more time, we'll take your wrap up. Just also introduce yourself so that they can.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gift, the student union president, University of Port Harcourt. First, as young persons, probably in the academic world, probably as students, as student union leaders, what we normally do in our various universities as a way of giving orientation to our year one students is to give them year one orientation. Not just for them, we'll make it open to all students. The reason is that we need to give them that guidance for them to understand the terrains of the university, for them to know that these are the do's and don'ts, for them to know that there's no gain in those social vices that probably people tell you that these are the ways to make it. Yeah. For us to also teach them that there are legitimate ways you can earn a living, you can make it, you can be proud of yourself and your family as well. So that's why we go as much as liaising with National Orientation Agency, some bodies, some NGOs, to bring them on campus and teach our students this. And sometimes when these issues are going on, we should try as much as possible as one person, just like we do. We'll bring it up on social media, we criticize it. We try as much as possible as well as young persons who are coming up to alienate ourselves somehow from some of these politicians and the title holders. These are our high chiefs, just like our prof has said, because most of them are the problems of the community. Most of them, you go to your various villages, you see how they are constituting to the problems happening in the villages. So as a young person who is in university, you should be able to orient the youth in the village that these persons are not thinking for your good. These politicians are not thinking for your good. You should not be able to go and be an errand boy to them to achieve their ambitions and all of that. So those are the ways student union leaders, we know we can come in. We don't have the money to come and start dashing students as all of you want to make you rich. No, we don't have such resources, we don't have such capacities. But in our own little positions, in our own portfolios, in our own platforms, we give them these orientations and be able to decipher their minds from such issues.
Thank you so much, Gifts. Thanks a lot, Gifts. I've met Gifts now at so many forums like this, and it makes me happy when I see that student union is not just the aluta shouting, but they want to sit down and listen to interesting conversations. All right,
everybody.
So,
my name is Forum Fred. I'm a social media influencer. I have 3 concerns here. One goes to the type of parents we have this time around.
Okay.
Our supposed good parents now are TikTokers and dancers. I am saying this because I had an encounter some weeks back.
Okay.
I met a girl for free. Before that, I visited a girl for free without any emotional attachment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. we had to confirm.
Yeah. So I met a girl some weeks back, and prior to that, my meeting with her parents input her mother, have been making moves to know where she is. I was there right in her front. Where are you? Say, mommy, this, that. Mommy, sorry, now, sorry. Mommy, that's her very mother insisted. Where are you? And I said, mommy, send the answer, send the account. Okay, and now you talk. Her mother sent her account number, and the very young girl greeted her mother, and the very quest to know where she was ended. Wow. Immediately, it ended. I left. A few days later, I went back to that very place again for free. For free. I tried to make inquiries on why, if she has finally gone home. She said no. I asked her to call her mom. She called freely. How are you now? How are you doing? God will bless your hand of hustle. You don't know what she is hustling. You don't know what I'm hustling in Port Harcourt. You are there praying for me. For whom should succeed. What am I doing? Hook up, robbery, courtesan. You are praying for me. I think we have a very number of lazy parents this time around. They don't care. They are only meant on, oh, you drove spider back home. They are very happy. They will come out and display, dance, and say, oh, my enemies have been put to shame. How? That's on that. We have lazy parents now, and I think from today they will change. On the side of security,
yeah,
I wish good precedents will be laid from the security agencies. We are talking about killings of women. Most times we see our police officers male involved in crime, and the best time you hear that is at the periphery. You will not get to the last part of that very crime. The matter ends there. When we get, maybe I pray that our security agencies here will move further to tell us the last part of what has happened at the end as regards to the police officer committing a crime. On the side of the government, well, I don't know if there will be a time when government will remove their interference when it comes to who committed a crime. And I am attached to a particular politician. Whether I killed somebody, it's none of their business. because I have the strength, agility to kill for them.
For them, yeah.
They will make a move, spend their billions to make sure I'm released. So I think this my concern should be put on notice so that we'll get some of all these things done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know the interesting thing, that's the reason why Chukwudi, all of our IT team have been working since morning to ensure that this conversation does not end in this room. It's being live streamed, it's being shared. Last time I went online, I saw so many comments. People are watching us, people are adding to the conversation. And we hope that this will be a start of a revolutionary cycle. And by God's grace, if I can borrow Pastor's words now, by God's grace, it will lead to the change that we actually seek to see in our communities. So let me see how much time we have. I just take maybe, because Mommy's hand has been up. I just take her own thoughts. It's 5:39, it's 3:39. So I'm just give us in 2 minutes, please. Just summarize your thoughts that you had, and then we'll wrap up and move to the next thing and close.
Mine is a request, which whenever I have an opportunity, I make. And I'm happy it's online, so it will go far. And it's a project all of us can key into. Thank God the student union people are here. When it gets to their level, they will know how to carry on the message. Officer, please, before you go, kindly listen to my plea. My plea is that wherever and whenever PIND, you have a program, help us distribute sanitary towel. Yes, help us distribute sanitary towel. Because it's a serious, no, you can. All of us can carry out this message. Help us donate sanitary towel. Because we found out that a lot of people, even in Port Harcourt, are affected by this. The monthly visitor that affects women of that age. When it comes, some people cannot afford sanitary towel.
Okay, ma'am.
It's tissue they're using, which is not healthy, it's not hygienic.
Yeah.
So instead of giving us condoms and other products, I'm not saying don't do that. In addition, please give us sanitary towels.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands together for ourselves, everyone that has contributed this afternoon. Please, just before we go, we'll just do next steps and then we'll take our refreshment and go. So as for next steps, Chukwudi, I know that there's a plan for us, as part of the work with the Center for Gender and Development Studies to develop an advocacy campaign. This is one of the steps of the advocacy process, right? We've gathered stakeholders, we've looked at the issues, distilled the areas where we need to work on. CDGS and PIND will be in touch with us, please. Let us not say it has ended. We will definitely get in touch with you, especially with the police agency, Nigerian Police Force, Ministry of Women Affairs, National Rotation Agency, CSOs, media. We'll definitely be in touch. We'll definitely be in touch with you, media. So please don't just reject us and say this is the end. We'll definitely be in touch. An advocacy campaign will be developed, and we'll see the role that you all have to play to make this campaign a reality. And I'm sure that as we put our hands together, as we come working together, we'll be able to, deliver the society that we're looking for, and we can put an end to these ritual killings once and for all. So let's put our hands together for ourselves one more time for being able to sit down this long and to dialogue on these key issues. So we'd like to take a group picture before we all go. Okay, Prof, do you want to close us before we take a group picture and take our refreshments? Yes, ma'am.
Once again, thank you very much. This session is actually to raise issues and then provide solutions. It's not a session to find faults from each other, because when we get to the point of finding faults, we won't be making any headway. As far as we are concerned, from our own perspective, Nigeria, there's nothing wrong with Nigeria than the way we have seen life, and it is from the way rough, fragrant display of wealth that we don't know how it came from. So wherever you find yourself, people are craving towards that. So we're trying to say that this reorientation, this attitudinal change is for all of us, so that we don't start finding who did well and who didn't do. We all know where we have all gone wrong. And then all we need to do is that now that we're at this crossroad, what should we do to find solution for a better Nigeria, and especially for the younger generations? Some persons here had actually benefited from this Nigeria, this country called Nigeria. And there are some persons here who had never benefited in any form. They're only seeing Nigeria from the negative perspective. So we should be able to say such things that will encourage them to move for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. So please, can we just process outside? The police chiefs want to leave, so let's just quickly take pictures with them. Let's take a quick group picture outside. Mommy, you will take a Prof after. Let's go. Please, let's head outside and take our group picture. We'll come back so we can get our refreshments and other things, but let's quickly take this group picture. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Please let Prof and assistant get. Thank you. Please also watch the bags that are left. People are left here. It's government that should be funding us. I heard that.
Yes, please, students should wait back. Oh. No, the students, I think they know themselves. Please, when you take pictures and you want to post on your social media, do well to tag PIND Foundation.
So I think next step is to go up now. Let's see how we can save those things. Let me see if I can see.
you.